You know, I I didn't used to have this much of a problem with when I see like go out and see a bad movie. But because of FOMO and like online discourse becoming like the main currency for a piece, I guess it's affecting me more. Because fine, Sonic bad movie, abysmal movie, and that's usually I can usually just accept that and move on. But now it's this like whole context, and it's kind of like movies Sonic that become like the apex of a larger frustration I have, and it kind of become this like punching bag, because just this one larger problem is kind of just pouring out, and this is like the perfect example of it. And uh, there in Sonic, there's several of them. Like holy fuck, I think it's a abysmal movie. And one thing that was frustrating for me around this is seeing the amount of people that saying the Sonic is an okay movie or fine movie, and of course thinking that Sonic is an okay movie is not the problem. But the thing is that it's it seems that a movie has to be like directly offensive to you before it's considered bad. It's the same with like online rating and databases where like My Animalist, where everything is rated on an average from 6 to 10, even though the worst thing on the site is a 6. So you kind of have used that ratio, although ideally it should be 1 to 10. That is the scale something operates on. That is because I do feel people put a bit much weight into like the lower scores, or in this case, the lower words, not more negatively loaded, like bad, not good, didn't like it, such. Because with a movie like Sonic, it's there's nothing good in it. The like it has like okay 4 chuckles. It's slow, not really funny. All the drama is forced and like doesn't work. Uh, if you just like seeing Jim Carrey going crazy, then you probably enjoy this movie. And there are like, yeah, of course, I can see people liking it, but there are so many people that just came and say this is a fine movie, this is a good movie, not good, but completely okay. Although they can't say a single good thing about it. They not, they can't like point to see, oh yeah, this made the experience good, good action, good acting, good jokes. It just wasn't offensive to them, which I don't agree. I think that's a bad metric to operate on when talking about movies, because I feel like not giving you anything or being boring and having nothing makes it a bad movie, because it fails at its primary and base function. And yeah, it's probably me being pedantic, but I feel like I saw this like every where was. Admittedly, it's a small base, but it's not with just this movie. It's something I feel like see again and again. And yeah, and it seems that something has to be explicit nowadays in order to recognize something. Like Joker is a movie that explicitly tells you like this is an important movie. This is a mature movie. And it seems like something has to be explicitly bad in order for people to say I don't like this. Like Sonic had to drop the N word and be homophobic throughout, or something, before people dare to say, oh yeah, this is not a good movie. Or at least, yeah, or at least a lot enough people saying it's bad before they can jump on the train and feel uncomfortable saying that. Because, at least from my view, Sonic is an abysmal movie. There's not a single thing of value in this. Uh, and yeah, I think I'm just gonna run through. One of my biggest problem with Sonic as movie is that it's a lot part of a larger trend that I hated. I thought we were finally past or like starting, but it feels so like outdated. And that is franchise movies that are ashamed of being its franchise. Like this, this is not a Sonic movie. This is a movie with Sonic, and he is interchangeable. And there are many movies like this. Fat Albert, Rocky and Bullwinkle, fucking what was called Smurf. Like, yeah, this is not major. Super Mario. It's where they just take the franchise brand and put it into this cookie cutter mold, which this movie couldn't even do right. But I hate this. Like, you give me a Sonic movie. Give me a movie with Sonic and Sonic's friends in the Sonic world doing a bog standard Sonic adventure. Like, I don't ask much from this movie, but they need to go through the same beats as all of this, and it feels so disconnected from the franchise. Like, this is a slow movie. You don't have a single element that you can get from what's playing a game. And there are adaptable stuff like the kinetic energy, the fun places, the fun stages. There's just nothing here. There's nothing. And yeah, this feels like a 1993 Super Mario movie where they just took the name but they didn't want to make a Super Mario movie, so they just made this crazy other thing and slapped the name on. Although, like, Super Mario movie at least is unique and crazy and you don't know where to go, and there's some entertainment value in this. But Sonic, it's there is okay, like, all the drama is forced. It's like they had the mold but they had to reverse engineer it, so like nothing sticks. There's no good action, and there's not a single like appealing element other than Sonic design, and I guess his characterization is already so vague, so you could kind of take from anything. So I guess that, like, character wise, it works. And even his world, like, that's old lady. I don't know where she is. But yeah, I hate it. But yeah, there is this like very good example on how just there's nothing of interest in this movie, because since they don't have any confidence in the opening, they decide to start in medias res, and it's this very outdated setup of like start with a scene in the middle or the end and say, oh gee, I wonder how you're probably wondering how it got here. But the problem is that doesn't work as a hook, because it's just Sonic running away from Eggman and being shot at, and it's because there's not a single interesting scene they could have used as the medias res hook, because there isn't anything interesting. And the most annoying part is that they could have done it. They had stuff to work with there. Like, they are in San Francisco during the movie. They gave Eggman a giant truck. So here they have this golden opportunity to do this Sonic Adventure opening. The most iconic, one of the most iconic parts of Sonic Meadows, where you just falling down from the sky on snowboard, cruising through San Francisco, having this giant truck follow you, and it's just this great introduction and awesome music, and it just completely sets the mood. And that would have been a scenario to just grab you, and at least have it work as a medias res and a moment. But I guess it's too Sonic for a Sonic movie, because it feels like they're doing the bare minimum they're allowed to get away with. They have Sonic, they have like a single song of his retroactive, and they explain like the most recognizable elements with the red shoes. And Tails, like he's the after credit scenes, and he shouldn't be after credit scenes. He should be there with Sonic. But yeah, of course, all this you can do the arguments. It's you're doing you only care because it's not accurate. It's not seeing it as a vacuum, as its own thing. But there's no value as its own thing, because it isn't its own thing. It's the most generic, bog standard, like franchise movie where you take them, you give us the first minute of this movie was like 30 seconds of the actual franchise, Sonic in Sonic Land, and then you put them in a real world. They meet a human character. Yeah, I mean the human character. He is most of the times too workaholic. He doesn't appreciate life or the people around him and need to relax a bit. And the wacky cartoon character will teach him that. And then you go on a road trip. There's always a road trip in movies like this because then you can have a shot of them both not looking at each other, being not touching each other. So it makes the CGI easier. And then you have this same arc, and okay, like yeah, that alone makes it generic and boring. But this can even land of those like the arcs are insanely weird. Like I even like morally disagree with this movie because the arc of the main character isn't to like appreciate people, life, or stop working or like easy, safe messages. It's him needing to stop being ambitious, like don't travel away from the city that's have been only established as doesn't need him. Like he is not satisfied in the city. It's boring. His police job is like mundane stuff he doesn't need. And like Sonic say he's leaving his friends, but they don't show him just being like community and loving everything. Just seems very arbitrary and it doesn't work. And yeah, and this makes it insanely slow movie and cringy. I the whole bar scene was painful to watch. Just did not feel right in a Sonic movie. And yeah, and it flossed twice, 2 flosses in movie, like in several fart jokes. Uh, uh, fucking 2 flosses. What more is there to say? Yeah, it's there's like yeah, there's just nothing that works. This as a movie, it's so disconnected from just playing the game and watching a movie or just yeah, like people say it's a kids movie. Why do you care? But the kids, at least in my cinema, were bored. Like during the last act, they just completely disengaged and just started hitting each other with empty soda bottles instead. Like you could sense just no one caring at the end, and yeah, it completely makes sense. And like all the decisions, this feel like Dragon Ball Evolution, a movie made during the writer's strike, where all good writers just didn't want to work for these people for a while, and it's not a good tone to hit, and it feels so of that time. And so that's why I'm wondering how can a movie just have nothing stick, nothing land except yeah, Jim Carrey might be work for some. But even then, like he will still work as Robotnik in a better movie. Like it's just him turning loose in the scenes he's given. It's not any of the writing around him that works. But how can a movie like doesn't work at any level and just being a disappointment and a shell of what it could have been, and still be considered a fine movie? I've not heard any reasons why it's a fine or okay movie. And watching it, there's only like not a single element holds under scrutiny. Every single element doesn't work on just like a pure writing basis or logical. And of course, there will always be people who like the movie, and you are in your full right for liking a movie. But I want to hear why. If there are any like reasons that can be shared, I want to know why, because I just don't see it. And a lot of people I said seen that doesn't hate it or thinks it's fine don't have a reason either why it's okay or fine or why they like it. No, not like it, but why they don't dislike it. And yeah, it's insanity for me. And of course, it's a children's movie. It's a Sonic movie. People will say, "Why do you care?" Although I will say, it being a children's movie is the exact reason why someone should care, since you can feed a child bleach and it will eat it, but it doesn't mean that you should give your children bleach. If anything, we have more responsibility to give them good stuff. And I'm not even that big of a Sonic fan. I don't like the Sega games that much, and I have some fun experience with older ones. But I just wanted a fun movie. I just wanted. Yeah, I thought like the elements of Sonic, the kinetic action, just the wacky story, the camp. Like I would have preferred the old design just because then the movie had something going for it. At least it will be. I could sit there and chuckle for myself while watching this horrid, disfigured creature do try to act human in front of me. But even then, like yeah, people want to support this movie because they had the bravery to overwork the overworked, underappreciated VFX artist even more. And they extended the date so they only had like slightly less crunch time. Uh, uh, yeah, and like the design was the least of its problems, and this I don't know this was apparent from the the trailer. Like I thought, yeah, it looked bad, and even though I had no expectation, it still disappointed. And all it had to be was just like a fun romp. Like you could be on the level of writing of the Sonic X series or the OVA. I wouldn't mind unless you could deliver some fun kinetic action, which it didn't. Like it's going a bit up in the end, but like most of it are uninspired sequences. And yeah, I hate the movie. It's bad. It's bad on all levels, and it's embodiment of so many just bad trends within Hollywood of just like committed driven uninspired movies that are ashamed of being what they are, but they still want the clout of the franchise, so they do this and it pleases no one, and because it's Hollywood and most of people are bad at the job, it's like 10 years too late and outdated and following trends from previously. Like that's why in the 80s we got like comic book movies only based on strips from the 60s and 50s because they're just working on that much of a delay. And yeah, we could have gotten a fun movie. And I don't know, it's just combination of this being abhorrent and having nothing of value and nothing sticks, and people just being complacent about it. I think is what gets to me, and I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Yes. So yeah, fuck Sonic movie.